My name's Chris. For those of you that don't know, I've been building Voces from the start, which was 2010. I'm the lead programmer and a bunch of other things as well. So myself and Neil were the primary ones who spent the last year developing Voces version 4 or V4 as we've been calling it, um, along with plenty of support from the rest of our team. I think I've got David and two Andrews in here, who helped a lot with testing and making sure things were as smooth as possible before we rolled it out. That said, we have had our inevitable bugs and glitches because that always happens when we make a major rollout, but we've been smoothing those out very quickly, and things have been going really well so far in August. So without further ado, I will share my screen and start with the overview. I tend to go through this stuff pretty quickly, so feel free to shout out in chat if you've got a question about anything I'm going over. We've got both these people here that will either answer it or let me know that there's a question. And then I can either go over the questions or we can look at it towards the end, depending on if it's something that I think I'm going to get to. All right, so login screen looks the same. One difference we did make is that the Google integration is different. So if you log in with Google Classroom, there's just some steps that your Google admin has to go through to get the new connection set up, which works a lot like the old connection did about like old year or so ago when everything was instant. So as soon as you've got a new student in Google, you can get them over into Voces without all of the kind of buffering delays. So that's the only real difference on this page. So I'm just going to log in normal here. And now things should look very different. So when you log in, you now go to our dashboard. On the left, we've got a list of all of our titles, and in each title, we can see our classes. I'm going to close chat so I'm not distracted the whole time. So if I want to see who's in my Pro Mundo 1, I can click here, expand it, get my ID cards, all from right here. Then we've got notifications that we'll be adding as we add new content or have changes that we need to let everybody know about. Recent books. So instead of giving you all your books in order, we're showing you first the books you've been into most recently. So if you're always going into New Age Historia 1, but you happen to have 10 different books in your account, it's always going to be right there for you. And then you can always access the rest of them by hitting view all. If you're in an account that doesn't have access to all of the books, right underneath, you'll see any of the titles that aren't currently in your account. You can add those very easily just by clicking one of those titles. It's going to open it up, and next time you come back, it's going to be in recent books. So just a reminder that when you have access to Voces, you have access to all of the titles in the Voces library. And we'll get a little bit more into that when we get into editing, because we've added some new tools to really let you pull it together and create a curriculum that really fits your needs. Underneath that, we've got a getting started guide that I believe Kelsey put together, which will kind of walk you through a lot of the same stuff that I'm doing. So if you're already tired of listening to me, feel free to go and just walk through Kelsey's 42 steps here. Also from the dashboard, we've got a search option. So this will let you search all of the titles. And then, so if I just do, let's do weather. So then it's going to go through and tell me where it shows up. I can click on it and that's going to take me right into the title. So you can use that instead of going into the title and then searching. Either one works. We've also got our account settings here. So from here, we've got some of our global account settings, your display name, things that aren't going to change from title to title. Your media privacy and video options are here. Then once we get into the titles, we'll take a look at this again to look at some of the title specific settings that we can set up. And then we've got our logout button, which is pretty self-explanatory. So any questions on the dashboard before I jump into a title? I know JJ's here. JJ, has anything come up in chat that I should address?
No, it looks like everybody that Aaron and David are really taking care of the questions in the chat, so you're good.
So the entire Voces team is in chat right now.
Pretty much.
All right, no pressure. All right, so I'm going to jump in. I'm just going to use Nuestra Historia 1 here. I reset my menu, so we've got a clean. Oh, Kelsey,
Sorry,
was
Chris.
that? Yeah.
One just came in, just confirming that the number next to the titles is the number of students in that title, correct?
That is the number of classes in that title. Would it make more sense for it to be students? Maybe. We'll have to discuss that later. All right, so I could make a poll, but nope, we're going to jump into Nuestra Historia 1. All right, so again, you see that visually we've overhauled the whole platform. Everything's a little more modern looking. We spent a lot of time on accessibility, on making sure that the layout is very mobile friendly, as well as the pages print much better than they did in the past. So if you tried to print activities in the past, you know that sometimes your 5 multiple choice questions would take 3 pages. That should not be the case anymore. So it should be much more friendly to print, both from a how much paper you're using and for letting your students use it. I know we had some teachers who would basically copy paste it out and redesign the whole thing in Word and then print it, and that shouldn't have to happen anymore. So running along the top, we've got our help button, similar to before, just explaining what all the icons do. Dashboard's going to take you back to where I was before. Search is the same as our external search, except it's going to look primarily in this title and then give you other options. My account does have more options when you're in a title. We've got our book specific settings, such as self-registration, turning some of the options on and off, automated can-do statements. If it's a page that has a can-do, as soon as the students submit, it will pop up and ask them to self-assess. Preventing unassigned work means that students can't go off and complete pages that you haven't assigned. Hiding assignments from before students are added. So if you've got your students in normal right now, you're assigning work to them, and then in October you have a new student added in. If this is enabled, they're not going to get flooded with all of the past assignments. Anything that was due before their account was created won't appear for them. Always Show Directory is going to lock our menu on the side. So I'll turn that on to show that in a second. And then we've got our grading controls here, and then our cleaning options. So we can delete all of our assignments and folders, and we can reset our menu. Both of those are going to happen here. So I'm going to save it so you can see what that directory looks like. So that's going to always leave this open on the side for me. Shrinks my content a little bit, but still, especially early in the year as you're trying to find where everything is and figure out your plan, this is a great way to set it up. And then once you're ready to go back to full screen, we'll go back in here, switch it back off, save it, and we're back to normal. So that's our top bar. Our bottom bar, these are very similar to what we had in the past. So we've got our game center and our assignments. Assignments has not changed at all. Still looks and functions the same. Tools, we've got our print option and our vocab list. And then teachers panel is all of our same options again. None of these had any real changes made to them. That's part of kind of phase 2 of V4, which will be next summer. So this summer's really focused on the overall design, and editing, both the menu and pages. Those were the main focus. Really bringing those to the forefront and making them much easier to use, which is the part I'm going to get into now. So over on the left side, we've got our directory icon. So this is how we navigate. We've consolidated everything back down into a single directory again. Clicking to expand, we've got our icons for teacher only, auto graded. And Kelsey, you can have me answer anything you want. I probably shouldn't have that chat open either. And we've got can do
Well, there
statements
was the
indicated in here
question,
as well.
then is there a way to print an activity after a student completes and see their work on the printed page?
Yes, the students have the same print option that you do. So the student could print their page.
But
Is
as a
that-
teacher, would I be able to like do that if I was a teacher looking to print a student's at work?
Other than printing from that's a good question. I don't know how that would look. Kelsey, can you make a note of that?
Yeah.
And who asked it? And I'll take a look and get back to them outside of this.
Yeah, of course.
So navigation is very similar. What we did is then merge in the editing of the menu with this navigation. So if I want to make changes to my directory, we click our edit menu button up here. And now the directory has switched into editing mode. So I see all my arrows have appeared. I can rearrange just by dragging and dropping them. I can rename. I've got my toolbox here, so that's where I can add pages, add subsections, renaming, making teacher only. So let's just turn off unit 2. Now students won't see it anymore once I press save up here. So once I'm done with everything, I'll press save. So we've got 2 save icons. We've got the first one, which is save and kind of continue going. For those people that like to make sure you're saving every so often. And then we've got save and stop editing, which is going to turn off editing mode when you click it, or we can cancel our changes. Same throughout.
There is a
Yes.
question about, oh, never mind. Kelsey just answered it.
So if I want to add a new page into the Mexico and Guatemala section, I'll click here, click add a page. We'll just start with a blank page for now and say this is my new page. And so that's going to show up here. So that's your basic editing is all going to happen right in that menu. Now to make changes to that new page I just created is a little different. What we're going to do is we're going to save the menu first, click to navigate to this new page. And once we're here, we've got our edit icon down in the bottom right. So clicking on that turns the page into editing mode. We're not going into a separate view to edit. We're doing all of it from right here. So I'll add a block. And we'll just add a full width text entry. These are my directions. And I have my options here. Then I add my questions, similar to before, just all on the page. You're seeing what you're creating as it will look in the end. So. And then once I'm done here, same idea with the save buttons. I've got save and continue and save and stop editing. So I'll save and stop editing. And here's my page with my input box. So when we go back in here, we see all of our different options are right there. We also have an option to import an existing block, which lets us take any question set from any title we have access to. So we're in Nuestra Historia 1 right now, but I'm in a chapter about Mexico. So I wanted to grab the introduction to Mexico from Portal Mundo 1. So I do that, and you know what? I just want this block, so I'll click on that. And I want the map on this page. And I like these questions. All right, so I'm going to do that, import blocks. And now I've brought those 3 blocks from Portal Mundo 1 into Nuestra Historia 1. So my students aren't going to the other book when I want to review this page. It's all right here. And we can scroll down and see those. And I'll save that. And now I've got them on the page. And I happen to bring over one of our long text entry blocks, which is new. We've added in this option so students can write a much, I guess, fuller paragraphs and bolding and underlining and adding some formatting to it so that they're not just restricted to a very long string of text. All right, I see a big number next to the chat icon. Kelsey or JJ, anything I should slow down on or look at? Or was that all just a bunch of, oh, wow, that's amazing?
Well, Kelsey and I are both responding to some questions. And so that's contributing to the high number. But there is a question, is the feature in which you enlarge the text size still available?
So that can be done through the browser Zoom. It shouldn't need to be done. I know we had the option in the settings before. It shouldn't need to be done there by adjusting my browser Zoom. It's going to adjust all of it. And the way that we've got everything formatted now, it should adjust and flow much better than it did in the past. So we shouldn't need that special one. If you're trying to use the browser Zoom and it doesn't seem like it's working right, let me know. And we can see what we can do there, because I assume there's a reason that you used that previous one. So in addition to being able to import those individual blocks, while editing the menu, we can import entire pages or even entire sections. So if I go back into editing the menu, and we'll stick with this Mexico and Guatemala. If I do add a page, I've got my import a page option over here. So if I click on that, and again, I can pick any title from my library. And I'm going to go with this one. So I can preview it first. I see we've got a video and a bunch of questions. That looks like what I wanted to bring in, so I will import this page. And there we see it. I brought that entire page with all of its contents over. If I save, click here, we see everything exactly the same as it was in Poralmundo 1. If I want to go a little bit farther and bring even more content over, I can click to add a subsection. And here I can either create a new section or import a section. And I'm going to do import here. Again, selecting Poralmundo 1. I believe this is Mexico and Guatemala. So I'll do Guatemala and I'll bring over all of the cultural pieces in here. So I'm going to import the section. Yep, I understand there's a lot. And where did I put it? There it is. So I can see all of those pages here. Again, we'll save, jump in, and we've got all of that content. So we've really added a lot of tools to let you create the content that you need and that your students need without having to jump between a bunch of different titles. All right, so I've thrown out a lot. I know you guys are answering a bunch.
There was one question earlier about the calendar view for assignments for students. I wasn't sure if that was something that is being turned back on or when. So I wanted to let you answer that.
So that's off for right now. It wasn't loading well, and it was causing some students, if they clicked in there, to kind of get stuck. So we may bring it back this year. If not, there will be a calendar view, I believe, that gets incorporated as we're doing our assignment overhaul for next year. But it may be back before that. There's also the sharing library, which is currently off, but that will be back soon. We just had to get some of that ironed out as well.
If you haven't pointed it out already, because I know that it's not always the most obvious, as it's just a little button. Somebody was asking if you could, as you're going through and adding new pages, add videos from other sources like YouTube. So just kind of highlight that button real quick.
Yep.
And where to find it.
I will. Great call. Let's create another new page here. All right, so when I go in and I'm creating, there's a couple of options with video. One is I can do it in a content block. So I'll create that block, add content. And when I'm on here, I've got this video option. And if I click that, I can paste a YouTube, Google Drive, Vimeo, etc. URL, and that's going to add it into right onto the page. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do it would be to add an interactive video activity. And I can either select one of the existing videos that are in Voces, or I can add a Vimeo or YouTube link. So I'm going to go grab a YouTube video real quick. Add that in so I can show you. So Really should start having YouTube links ready. All right, so I'm going to do this. Stop playing there. So we've got that, and then I can add in questions. So we'll add in a multiple choice step, and we'll show this at 10 seconds. I just saw a question about if YouTube is blocked. I'll show you where that setting is in just a second, but there will be the option to play the local version. So we'll see my questions underneath and their timestamp. And when I save this, we can see the dotted line at 10 seconds, and that's where it will show a question when I get to that point. To answer Kelly's question there, in my account, if we go down here to video options, by default, it's going to play from Vimeo with the option for the alternate. Underneath that, we can select never play from Vimeo, and that will automatically load the local version. So, which isn't YouTube. Our local versions, our primary versions are Vimeo, which not as many schools have blocked as YouTube. But if they do block Vimeo, then you might as well just tell it never to play there, so the students don't even have to click that button. Another thing that I want to show is rubric editing. Let me find, this one feels like it might have a rubric on it. That's not the page I clicked on. All right, let's refresh the page and figure out, oh, I know why it's doing that. I ran into that issue once before. Okay. So now I'm going to go to one with a rubric. There we go. We're writing one. All right. So if I want to edit this rubric, I will go into edit the page. And to make changes, I just come down to the rubric and click on one of the cells. And then I can add additional content, change it all right there. I can add, if I come down here, I can add a new row. And add my rubric criteria here. Once I do, I can save it as a template if I want to be able to apply it to other pages as well. Christina, I'm going to jump over and answer your question. You can embed content from Google Drive. So let's go back to not my video page, this one. So if I edit and add a block, and we'll just do content only again. If I add an iframe here, so this kind of frame icon, that's going to let you put in an embed code. So bear with me just a second. I'm going to get a Google slide and show you how to turn that on and add it. All right, So here is a charcuterie Google slide. So if I go to file, and I believe this is where it is for anything on Google Drive, or it's in a similar location. So where you go to share and then publish to web. And then I'm going to click over onto embed. And from here, I'll click publish. And that's going to give me this box of code. I'm going to copy that, bring it back over here, and go into that add iframe area and insert it. And that's going to put it right on the page. So any of your handouts, slides, anything that you might have, if you can put it into Google, you can embed it into Voces. Does that help answer your question, Christina? All right, perfect. I know you guys have been all on top of chat. Yes, we did disable the 2-player options. They are required students to be sitting at the same computer, which was not ideal. So that's one of the things we're looking into for a future round of updates. All right, Kelsey and David, is there anything else that I forgot to mention? Not necessarily a question that I didn't answer, but something that you've seen come up that I'm not thinking of.
Did we talk about making a page teacher only? Did you show that in the menu?
So that is when we click our toolbox, that's one of our options there, is to remove teacher only or to make it teacher only.
I know a lot of teachers are using that as we get into the school year, so that just
And the difference between making it teacher only and disabling it is that if it's disabled, you won't see it either, except when you're editing. So if you're trying to really clean everything out that you're not using, disabling is going to hide it from you as well. But you can always come back in and re-enable it. And we do have this duplicate page option that will let you make a copy of a page before you make changes. Well, let's click on it and I'll show you. So if I want to make changes to that page, but maybe I want to keep the same one. So let's actually go with an activity. So let's just say this multiple choice page, I want to have 2 versions of. So I'm going to click duplicate page. And so now I've got that there and I don't need it to be teacher only. Let's rename it to version 2. So now I've got 2 versions of the same page here. Well, I'm going to go into my version 2 and I'm going to edit this one. And I'm going to remove question 6. And we'll just remove question 3. So now I've got my modified version of the page and I've still got the original version. So if you've created a quiz that you want to maybe have 2 different versions for your students, so they're not sure which one they've got, duplicating is an option. Or if you're not sure if you really wanted to get rid of the original, you could always make the original teacher only and just keep your duplicate. Thinking about some of those kind of differentiation and anti-cheating methods, when we click on our page options up here, we do have the option to shuffle the block order. So that's going to, if you've got 3 multiple choice sections, they could show up in any order. And then the same thing within the different sections. So multiple choice, I can randomize the questions in that block. So it's going to mix up those questions. And if I've done both, everything on the page is going to be randomly ordered. And we can also randomize the options in the block, which is going to, it's not always ABC in the same order. So with those 3 things in place, really no student should have the same activity in front of them, even if they all have the same questions.
Another question that I've seen from teachers a couple of times is they're asking, as I'm going through making changes, if I want to go back and just undo one change, is there a good way to do it? Do we have any sort of history of what's going on with the editor?
We do now. So if we come in here and edit this question, you know what, I'm just going to change it to an exclamation point. Save my changes. And I come out of here and you know what? I think I want it how it was before. If I come back in here, I've got this little log icon that's going to show me any of the previous versions. So I know that, okay, it's 708, it was changed. It used to be, oh, that's right. It just had a period after it. So I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to put that back. All right. So now it's back to how it was before, except I lost my italicizing, but that's okay. So that's kind of our first step in the logging. We will be adding some additional logging for the entire blocks. So if you were to delete something, we'll be able to track that as well. Great question, David. All right, normally I would need a lot of time at the end for questions because I don't have quite as many people answering them for me as we go. So if anyone has any questions about really anything VOCES, feel free to either turn on your microphone or
There is a question, as a first-time VOCES user, Eric, welcome, was asking if you would demo assigning and grading. I know we didn't really plan on that, but if not, I can
Yeah.
certainly share the link to schedule a walkthrough as well. Um, Teachers, you can schedule a walkthrough with us at any point during your subscription. I'm going to put that link in the chat too. That way, if you do have anything specific you want to see or have us demo or help you with, you can have that link ready as well.
Yeah, I'll answer the second question first. I believe that's the question about audio. All of the stories still have the audio. We've still got our speed controls and everything. There's also, we made a change to vocab. So your vocab audio is still there as normal, but we've also got this icon here, which is going to open it up. If the vocab has images or additional descriptions with it, that's going to show up here. And then from here, there's also the speed controls, so students can listen to the audio slowed down if they need to. Bonnie, if you've got specific videos that you're not seeing, email us and we can take a look at that. I'd want to look at it as a specific thing. Not, I don't think it's a widespread issue.
Okay, thank you.
Um,
Chris, can I ask a question quick?
yes.
Okay, can you go back to the search feature? Because I was doing something, I'm getting ready to do a bunch of review with my French twos, and I was looking for something as simple as months or days of the week. And I put it in there and I clicked search and it brings up all the books. And I tried to click on that specific book. I figured it would go directly to it, and it's not doing that. Am I doing something wrong, or is that not what it would do? if I clicked on it.
Are you on the dashboard or are you in the title?
I was on the dashboard.
So it'll have all the books first, and then if you scroll below that, that's where it's going to have the specific book references.
Okay.
And then these, toggling these will filter out. So I see I've got No Oyster Story 3 a couple times. If I click that, it's going to remove it from that list.
Because I went to the specific book and I scrolled down to the list and I clicked on it itself and it still didn't go to that book.
So it's the individual items in the results that you would want to click on to go to it. So if I click right here, I've got top results, click on La Madre Perfecta, that's going to take me to that page. And if it's this might be something that we want to look at together.
Yeah, I'm doing that. I'm doing the same thing in the French book, but it's not doing it. It's just
Okay.
on that page.
I'm gonna throw my email in chat. Email me and we'll set up a time to look at that together and see what's going on with it for you.
All right, I appreciate it.
Here is a question, Chris. Since the shared library isn't available at the moment, any materials previously shared still available to use?
If you've already got it in your account, you can still use it, yes. And anything that was shared before will be back in there as soon as we get that turned back on. I know a lot of the sharing that was done was people sharing with themselves to move things from one book to another, which you shouldn't need to do anymore with the new import options. So if that person has a specific page that they're looking to add back in, if they email us, we can try and find it for you.
Hey, Chris, just so that people see how it's changed and where it appears, do you mind showing how teacher feedback now shows for students, how it's all moved to the top of the page?
Yeah, let me find one of my student pages. I did leave feedback on this one. All right, stop share for a second. I keep my student accounts in a different window. All right, so now we're in as a student. So when you assign the page, there's the assignment details that the students will see up top. And they'll see feedback there as well as on the page. So even if it's one that's not assigned, or if they close the details, they'll still see that feedback there. So they'll see their points, any page specific, and also question specific, which they can see by hovering over or by just looking at that feedback block. And this is a page where I have correct answers turned on, so we can see what the correct answer is after each input box.
As we're talking about just other things that have changed like that, did we look at how hover over has changed so that you now have the show inline button at the top, or how the slideshows have changed so that you now have so that it, instead of having the icon with 4 arrows in the corner, it now has the little box icon at the top to make full screen and a presentation?
I can show both of those in one page. So we've got two options with the hover overs. They hover over as normal. There's also the option to show all of them. So if we click that, they're all going to show up in parentheses after the words in blue. And then for the slideshows, we've got our full screen icon here. They're also all a uniform size now, so they won't be jumping around as you go from slide to slide. We can jump around by clicking our bars at the bottom to get to specific slides, or we've got our arrows on the sides that we can use. All right, I see 3 people wanting you to send a specific thing about embedding a slide. So how about I'll just show it one more time. So I'm gonna go back to my page. I'm going to edit the page, clicking my edit icon in the bottom right. I'm going to add content. Well, we'll add a content only block. We don't need to add any special styling. Then from here, I will add content. Now I need to get the slide that I want to embed. So I'm going to go over to I need to revert that back. All right, that's back to how it will look when we go in there. So we go into File, Share, Publish to Web. We go over to Embed. And then we're going to click Publish. That's going to show us our iframe code, which we will copy. We're going to take that back into Voces now and click this Add iframe button here and paste that into this box. And then click Insert iframe. And now we'll see it here. And if I save changes, now we will see it on the page. All right. Did we still want to look at assigning and grading real quick? Or Kelsey, were you going to follow up separately?
I did. I set the link for the meeting, and it sounds like we're going to see if the other Spanish teacher wants to get together as well. So I think we'll save that. I didn't want to feel too pressured on it.
Okay, and And we'll send you over the specific one that David's going to create. And then Kelsey's been doing some with where it's more I guess of an instruction sheet than a video. So once we get those put together, we'll get those over to you.
Yes, yeah, we're working on a lot of updated support materials, and hopefully we'll have a few more of them live very soon. And yes, as JJ said in the chat, we are always just a call, an email, or a Zoom meeting away. Don't ever hesitate to reach out to us. You can find all the ways to reach us under help in your account, or on the website. If you can't log in, it's all right there under contact us, but we're very available. We're pretty easy to reach. I think most people who have needed to would say that. So definitely don't ever hesitate to reach out, and we are here if you run into any roadblocks or if you just have any questions.
Kelsey, all of the training videos as they get updated are in our tutorial library, correct? Or training and tutorial library.
Yeah, that's where they'll all be for now. Things like assigning and grading, we haven't done as many updates to, and they're a little lower on the totem pole just because not as much has changed except sort of how you get there or what it looks like. But we do have videos from the spring conference as well that show just sort of what it looks like in the new platform. We did one for assigning, we did one for editing. So those are also available.
If you go to community and past event recordings, you'll see any of our webinars, the summer conference that just happened a couple weeks ago, all the way back to 2020. So there are a lot of videos there, both from a technical standpoint and from a teaching strategy standpoint. Somebody's drawing on my screen.
So we had this happen in a webinar the other night, and someone's cat was walking on their computer and on their mouse pad, and it clicked something on the whiteboard to be able to draw.
Eric, yes, it will be a Zoom, so you can either be together or on separate computers. Either way will work.
And it's with a real person. So it'll usually be myself, David, sometimes Andrew as well. And we basically will share our screen with you, walk you through anything that you want to see. So it is customized. It's not, a script or a sales pitch or anything along those lines. It is very much guided by what you need to learn and what you already know about VOCEs. So definitely don't think that it's anything like. Sometimes I get asked, is it pre-recorded? Is it just a video? So no, it's really definitely shaped by you.
All right. We technically still have a few minutes left, so if there's any other questions, I'm happy to answer them. If not, I don't blame anyone from jumping out and enjoying the rest of their evening. Thanks, Jill. You too. Always great to get to see you for a minute. Yes. JB asked about a quick table of contents for each book in the, I have to find my screen again. If before you even log in, if you go to VOCE's library and digital curriculum, and then from there, click on any of the titles. And then click on supporting documents. You can get the full outline as well as the scope and sequence, themes, essential questions, all of our alignment docs, sample pacing guides. There is a lot of information in these dozen documents here. And those are in each of the titles. So if I go back to the library and go into level 3, we've got all of those same options there.